Hello there, YouTubers. This is Gus Estacio from Healing X Outreach Radio. You can listen to us every Saturday at 1 o'clock Eastern Time, where we have theological debates. We interview scholars and theologians. We largely interview ex-cultists, formerly Jehovah's Witnesses mostly. Sometimes we do some Mormons and Seventh-day Adventists, trying to get some ex-Muslims and some ex-Christadelphians on. Worldwide Church of God. We've done your Antia book. So we've done a host of different ex-cultists and also some programs highlighting certain members of the cults like the Hebrew Roots movement. All of these are related to the cult of my birth, the Jehovah's Witnesses. And so we try to parlay a bunch of cults that have the same similarities to the Jehovah's Witnesses. Some of them are religious cousins of the Jehovah's Witnesses, like the Adventists and the Christadelphians, and the Urantia book, incidentally, through the Adventists. So this is what we do every Saturday at 1 o'clock. You can listen to us at 347-934-0379 on your phone. We're on iTunes. Check out our archives at blogtalkradio.com/healing, the letter X, outreach, Healing X Outreach. And just Google us, Healing X Outreach. I'm sure it'll pop up in your Google and or any other search engine. So, Healing X Outreach is our radio program. It's where ex-cultists speak out. I'm doing a video today on YouTube for a couple of reasons. One, it's been a great week for ex-cultists. It's been a great week for outreaches to the cults. And I want to give a shout out to two particular people that have really caught my eye. One is actually never was a Jehovah's Witness, just a Christian doing outreach, has a great ministry. Her name is Cali Girl, I think 7525. Check out her channel, Cali Girl 7525. Let me make sure that that's right, because I want to make sure that you get the right channel. It is her, Cali Girl 7525. Check out her channel. Fantastic presentation on the bodily resurrection with two Jehovah's Witnesses at a cart stand, and I mean a blow me away, presentation of the bodily resurrection to two Jehovah's Witnesses, a black brother and a white brother, and you can really see the white brother really thinking about the things that she said. And she does a couple of things I'm going to talk more about tomorrow. I'm going to do a video on the resurrection, and we're going to talk about some of the things that she did right. And I can't really, she did everything right, including the other side questions they tried to throw at her. She just handled it so well. Like some ex-Jehovah's Witnesses can't do what she does. Let me put it that way. There are a couple Christians I know that have a gift for this ministry. I would say Cali Girl 7525 is one of those. Keith Walker is the other person who actually goes out and does Mormon missions out in Utah too. Mormons in Utah, so that's his ministry, but he also tackles Jehovah's Witnesses. The other person is Bridget, AZAZ. Her name is Bridget Christine Anderson. Fantastic ministry. She calls Jehovah's Witnesses at the Kingdom Halls, and she does phone witnessing to the Jehovah's Witnesses, and she does a fantastic job. And I think her YouTube channel is Bridget AZAZ. Check these three people out. Keith Walker's Evidence Ministries, fantastic stuff. There's a guy who I don't think he's a Christian, but he's doing really great aggressive evangelism or aggressive activism in Kingdom Halls, and his name is Zeb Freestone. But when he approaches the witnesses, basically trolling them wherever they are. This guy has plenty of time, I guess. 3 times a week I've seen him. He's either in halls or he's on the streets, and he is trolling the witnesses like nothing doing. He's chasing them out of the neighborhoods. He's being a guardian for neighborhoods. It's fantastic, and he's doing it very polite, very tongue-in-cheek, a little bit of sarcasm, a little bit of humor. But Zeb Freestone goes by the name of Kevin Bunker, and if you don't know the relevance of that name, Kevin Bunker, it has something to do with last year's assembly drama films that they have these movies with a guy named Kevin who was not in the bunker. Kevin was having doubts about the organization. All the witnesses were in the bunker during Armageddon. He wasn't there. Poor Kevin. And so he kind of plays this I guess sense of humor crack on all the judges calling this now Kevin Bunker. I think it goes completely over their heads. But a few things that have really come to play with Zeb Freestone, Kevin Bunker, whatever his real name is. I think that neither are his name. But what has really come to the fore is, and what we've gotten to see is, first of all, it's stirring some other witnesses to more aggressive evangelism. And I think it's time. It's time for more aggressive activism, more aggressive evangelism to Jehovah's Witnesses. They're hurting. They are really hurting. And we are really seeing it with Zeb's videos. He's in these halls. And I've yet to see any Kingdom Hall where he's there and you can see when he pans the whole room and there's not more than 30 people in there. I haven't seen a single congregation with more than 30 people. It's usually 30 people or less. It's really sad. And now we can see why halls are being sold, not only because they need the money, they need liquidation for protecting pedophiles, the money to pay for these court cases and pay people to just quietly go away. But also the reason why they need the money that they're selling the halls is because they just don't have the people to fill them. It's pretty obvious right now that in the United States, California, where Kevin Bunker Zeb is doing these videos, that those Kingdom Halls are hurting really badly. It's pathetic. I've never seen it this bad. I've been to many congregations when I was a witness. We always had 70 or more people. We were packing them in the 90s, and even if you weren't, then you combine congregations. You just absolve congregations, and you would combine them. But 30 people, I haven't seen more than 30. And kudos to Six Screens of the Watchtower, Rick Farron. He's stepping up his game, and I see him at the hotel talking to witnesses from the assemblies, and it's I think everybody is really coming out, and we need to because they're protecting criminals, they're protecting child molesters, and the more that we can drop seeds like what Kevin is doing, the more what Zeb is doing, we can cause more to fall out and make Kingdom Halls close. Then we're doing a great job. And I think that what we're seeing here is the fruit of a lot of years of the work that we've done, but we can do more. And I'm just glad to see that Christians out there that have become really, really adept at presenting the gospel. And there's a difference between activism and outreach. I am an outreacher. I'm an ex-witness who I don't consider myself an activist. I consider myself a person who's doing Christian outreach. and there is a difference. I mean, this movement didn't begin with activism. Ex-Jehovah's Witnesses who have been doing these things began with Christian outreach. And we've heard about Hank Hanegraaff and the Bible Answer Man program. So I'm going to share a little bit of history, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about Michael the Archangel and a conversation I had with a Jehovah's Witness named Lynn on Facebook. And I just want to, pray for Lynn. I'm glad that she's coming on my wall. I'm glad that she has been my Facebook friend and has decided to troll me. And I love it when cultists troll my page. My Facebook page is an outreach. It has some personal things, but it's largely an outreach. It's a means to share the gospel with atheists, with ex-Jehovah's Witnesses, with current Jehovah's Witnesses, with Muslims, whoever you are that needs Jesus Christ. That's why I do Facebook. So anyway, Walter Martin wrote a book called Kingdom of the Cults. Became good friends with Bill Setner. Bill Setner's wife is Joan Setner. Joan Setner is a godmother to me in the faith. And she, for 30 years, ran the Witnesses Now for Jesus conventions in New Ringo, Pennsylvania. That's still going on in the mountains of Pennsylvania. Not quite what it used to be. It's being ran by three gentlemen, two Bobs and Eric Grieshopper, Bob Anderson, and Doc Bob, and they're trying to modernize it, and you can see a lot of that on YouTube. So look up Witnesses Now for Jesus on YouTube, and you'll see some of these talks and experiences that are happening in Pennsylvania every October. So anyway, Walter Martin was a guy who really founded Christian apologetics, or revived it. And Bill Setner and Joan Setner and Walter Martin are pioneers in what we're doing, and most of you don't even know who they are. I'm pretty sure that all of the vast Apostate Hour program on YouTube, these guys don't know who they are. Eric, Corey, and Zeb, and all of you guys. I hope that you get to learn a little bit of the history about the pioneers of what we're doing now, and let us lift up that legacy. You talk about the vast apostate army. It began with Bible-toting, Bible-believing ex-Jehovah's Witnesses who worked at Bethel. Guys like Randy Waters, guys like Bill Setner and Joan Setner, and a guy I had recently on, Jay Howard, and Dwayne Magnani, who's no longer doing it, but whose books really should be an interest to Hannah E.K., who's doing a fantastic job presenting the gospel through the resurrection, which Dwayne Magnani would definitely say that that's the way to go. Use the doctrine of the resurrection to reach out to Jehovah's Witnesses. So Dwayne Magnani, who else I can mention? Charles Trombley is a guy I've had on the program, and Edmund Gruss, Dr. Edmund Gruss, probably one of the first ex-witnesses to become a scholar in the field. He got his PhD through Master's Seminary, which is John MacArthur's accredited university Bible college. So just a little bit of history about the Witnesses Now for Jesus Convention, which is coming up in October. And look up Witnesses Now for Jesus in your Google, and I'm sure it'll be WNFJ v.20. I think it's version 2.0. And you can check out what they're going to be planning for this year and see if you can be a participant in it somehow. And kudos, I mean, they're the ones who really are the people that I guess I want to imitate when it comes to my activism, and learn a few pointers from the new guys, the new kids on the block who is doing fantastic work, like Zeb and Hannah E.K. and Bridget. So I had this conversation with a ex-Jehovah's Witness named Lynn, and it came up the issue about Michael the Archangel and Jesus. And I'm just going to really talk, not at long length, but I want to highlight, let's see, 1, 2, 3 pivotal scriptures that proves Michael is not Jesus. First, one of the scriptures she brought out to me is popular scripture that Jehovah's Witnesses use. It's Daniel 10:13, and let me go ahead and pull this over here. Now I want to be able to see this. All right, you guys there. All right, Daniel 10:13, and this is what Daniel 10:13 says. And no doubt she was reading it from her Watchtower CD-ROM library. She was copy-pasting everything that she had talked to me about, to Sarah Parrott, who's on Facebook, and a couple other people. And so this is the scripture that Jehovah's Witnesses try to use for their basis. That, of course, Michael means one who is like God. And so it's funny because if Michael is Jesus and his name is one who is like God, then wouldn't we think that Michael is one who is like God? He can't be an angel then. But this is the text. But the prince of the kingdom of Persia withstood me 21 days. But lo, this is the American Standard Version, a translation that Jehovah's Witnesses used to use that includes the name Jehovah. But lo, Michael, one of the chief princes, came to help me, and I remained there with the kings of Persia. Okay. Michael, one of the chief princes. One of the points I want to make is that Michael, the archangel, and the word arch means chief, actually, or chief of angels. And if we're going to use 10:13, what we're really saying is Michael is only one of others. He is one of many chiefs in heaven. He is a drill sergeant of angels, just like there are many drill sergeants in the heavens or many drill sergeants in the military. He is common. He is not unique. He is not only. He is one of others like him, one of the chief princes. And then I want to go to Psalm chapter 89. And most Jehovah's Witnesses are familiar with Psalm 89 because it talks about the name Jehovah. But the text I want to really point out to, and once again I'm reading from the American Standard Version for familiarity in dealing with Jehovah's Witnesses who use the name Jehovah. Not that Jehovah is a true identification of the God of the Bible, nor a true representation of his actual name, which is Yahweh, or at least Yahweh. It's one of Yahweh or Yahweh, but the J, there are no J's in Hebrew. Okay, so that makes Jehovah obsolete. So anyway, verse 6, Psalm 89. For who in the skies can be compared unto Jehovah? It's a rhetorical question. Who in the skies? And other translations say, who in the heavens? Who in the heavenlies can be compared to Jehovah? So who dwells in the heavens with Jehovah? Angels. We know the book of Revelation says there are 4 beasts. There are elders that have the shape of beasts, one with the face of a man. But these are all creatures. And the rhetorical question is asked with another question. To be specific, who it's talking about in the heavens. It's not talking about the birds, but yeah, we can include birds in there. It's not talking about the stars, no matter how grand they are. But yes, we can include the stars. We can include any creature in the heavens. But it's specific. Verse 6, part B says, who among the sons of the mighty is like unto Jehovah? The word there is Elohim. Some translation says, who among the sons of God? Who among the celestial beings is like unto Jehovah? What's the answer? Well, it's a rhetorical question. We know the answer. The answer is no one in the skies. None of the angels is like to Jehovah, even if his name is Michael and means one who is like God. He is not like Jehovah. And we know this because in Isaiah chapter 6, Isaiah goes into a vision of heaven, and the angels, the very cherubim, are standing there with their feet covered and with their eyes covered because they can't even look upon God. God is so brilliant, so glorious, so mighty, so wondrous, they cannot even look upon him directly. They can't even walk upon the ground in the throne room of God. And they have 3 sets of wings, and one set is to cover their feet because of sheer holiness, one to cover their eyes, and the other to fly with. So the psalmist is asking a rhetorical question. We know the answer. The answer is no one's like Jehovah. And if you were to ask a Jehovah's Witness, Psalm 89:6, is there anybody in the heavens like Jehovah? I mean, what is this question being asked? Is there anybody like Jehovah? I'm sure that they would say, no one's like Jehovah. Jehovah is unique. He is the creator. He is infinite. He is beyond time. He is from everlasting to everlasting, his throne. Psalm chapter 90, verse 2. So, here is the last text I'm going to bring out. And really, we could read the whole chapter, but this proves that Jesus cannot be Michael. Because, see, Michael fits that bill. He cannot be likened unto Jehovah. The rhetorical question even is addressed to him. And they will say, yes, some reformers believe Jesus was Michael. And I will say none of those reformers are the apostolic fathers. And I would say they are wrong, and they are not authorities on what the early church believed. And the ones that do believe Jesus is Michael believe Jesus is Michael because Michael means one who is like God, and he is not an angel by being, but an angel only in purpose and name only. And the word angel means messenger. So he is not angelic by nature. So we found out in Daniel 10:12, Michael is one of many like him, one of the chief princes. And in Psalm 89:6, we find out that no one among the heavens is like Jehovah. But Hebrews chapter 1 says something very, very different about Jesus Christ. In verse 3 it says, who being the effulgence of his glory, and I'm reading once again from the American Standard Version, and the very image of his substance. Jesus is the effulgence of his glory. He is the very image of his substance. In some translations it says the imprint of his nature. The Greek word is character. It is what makes God unique. He is exactly like him. The New American Standard says the exact representation of his nature. So there is someone among the heavens that can be likened unto Jehovah. None of the angels can be likened unto Jehovah. But there is someone who is exactly like God by his nature. Not just by his attributes, not just by his personality, but by his nature, by his substance, by his being. These are all words used in verse 3. And not only this person is not only like God, like Jehovah, by all these things, he has almighty power and upholding all things by the word of his power. When he had made the purification of sin, sat down on the right hand of the majesty on high. He upholds all things by the word of his power. Jesus was called the Word of God. Jesus is called the Wisdom of God, the Logos, the Monogenes Theos, the only begotten God, the only unique God, John chapter 1, verse 18. He upholds all things by the word of his power. So he is like God. He has this power which controls all things. The reason why the earth doesn't fly out into space or into the sun and stays at the perfect angle and the perfect place, habitation zone for our sun, our little star, our yellow star, is because Jesus is holding it there by the very word of his power. The reason why we haven't been demolished by an asteroid, because Jesus is holding the asteroids at bay by the word of his power. The reason why our moon hasn't flung off into space, because Jesus is holding it there by the very word of his power. But this is the absolute proof that Jesus is not Michael. And it's verse 5. For unto which of the angels said he at any time, this is God speaking, Jehovah, thou art my son, this day have I begotten thee. And again, I will be to him a father, and he shall be to me a son. A rhetorical question. Guess what the answer is? Let's figure it out. The rhetorical question is, which of the angels has he said at any time, thou art my son, this day I have begotten thee? Is Michael the only begotten of the Father? No. He's one of many. He's one of many chiefs. He's a prince. Jesus is King of Kings. He's not a prince. He's a Prince of Peace, but he is the King of Kings. He is not an angel. He is not one of many. He is the only begotten Son. John 1:18. The only begotten God. Monogenes Theos. Or Monogenes Huios. The only begotten Son. None of the angels have been called son in this manner. And he shall be to him a father, and he shall be to me a son. The answer is none. And then verse 6 solidifies this. Where is Michael? Where is Michael? Verse 6 tells us where Michael is. And when he again bringeth in the firstborn into the world, he saith, and let all the angels of God worship him. There he goes, Michael. You've been looking for him. All the angels of God are worshiping Jesus, including Michael. He's one of the all. There's not a single exclusive angel not worshiping Jesus. All of the angels worship the firstborn, the only begotten, the one unique, not one of many, not a prince of chiefs or chief of princes, one who can say, I am exactly like God by his nature, by his character, by his being. And I uphold all things by the word of my almighty power. When I speak, the entire cosmos stands still in its order, in its orbits, in its ways. There is no chaos that goes without my permission by my word. Michael doesn't have this power. Michael is not a son. He is not only anything. He is not unique. He is not begotten. He is one of the chief princes. Just one of many others. Jesus is not one of anything. He is like God. Not just by a name and meaning. His name is Emmanuel, God with us. His name, Yeshua, Jesus, is Yahweh is salvation. Only he stands in the heavens and says, I'm raising my hand right now. Let me do this for the camera. I'm like God. Only Jesus can say that. I'm like him. Because he is God by nature. He is infinite, uncreated, the wisdom, the word of God. And we'll go more into that another time. We're down 30 minutes I've been speaking. So you all have a blessed weekend. I'll see you tomorrow. I'm going to do a video on the resurrection. And Hannah E.K., Cali Girl 7525, check out her videos. Fantastic job, Hannah. And Bridget, AZAZ, and Zeb Freestone, who is now coming on the scene. I mean, they're all doing different things with the same purpose, and that is to destroy this pedophile's paradise called the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society. You all have a blessed day. Bye-bye.